The investigation into embattled MP Darleen Tana found she more likely than not knew of migrant exploitation allegations against her husband's now closed bike business. The Green Party's released a 12-page summary of the investigation, which raised concerns about the lengthy and often unclear explanations Tana offered during the process. Here's Jenna Lynch again.
Bikes and Beyond going bust. The business at the centre of migrant exploitation allegations all shut up. A closed sign hung in the window with contact details for an insolvency firm. Its owner, Christian Hoff-Nielsen, pictured here in March, was nowhere to be found today, with reports he's bailed to Europe.
I don't know nothing.
Sources have told us embattled MP Darleen Tana was at Parliament today with her belongings due to be moved out of her Green Party office as a 12-page summary of the Greens' investigation into her involvement in her husband's business was released.
I'm glad to be in a position now to release that report so that New Zealanders know what it is that we've been dealing with.
It's understood Tana had been preventing the release of the report, which was leaked to Stuff last week. The investigation concludes Tana more likely than not was aware of the allegations and had operational involvement in the business, something Tana disputes.
Do you stand by what you've said about Darleen Tana, that effectively she's a liar?
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, I've made it really clear that she misled. It is mine and Marama's strong view that she misled myself and Marama, and in normal person's language, that would be the equivalent of lying.
Tana is refusing to tell the Greens whether or not she intends to remain in Parliament as an independent MP. She told us she was not in a position to talk plans at this stage.
We are still yet to, not only the Green Party, but the public of this country, have a clear, straight-up answer from Darleen Tana about her intentions to stay within Parliament or not. We need to know an answer to that question before we move on.
The next step she's referring to is the Greens deciding whether or not to use the waka jumping law to kick her out of Parliament.
Are you going to waka jump Darleen Tana out?
We don't have plans to do that at this point in time.
The acting Prime Minister says don't do it.
The only people who should be able to drive an elected Member of Parliament out of Parliament is the voters at an election.
First port of call is to make it clear as whether Darleen intends to try and retain that seat that was won by the Green Party at this most recent election. And if she decides to try and do that, then of course we'll move on to next steps.
Darleen Tana wouldn't do an interview today, but thanked us for our patience while she is, quote, navigating the terrain.
Well, Jenna, this saga is certainly dragging on. What happens next?
I have just received a text from Darleen Tana in the last little while responding to Chloe Swarbrick's statement there about her lying. She has said that she's disappointed by Chloe's comments, that calling her a liar is unprofessional and also, in her view, not reflective of the findings of the report. Still no word from her on whether she intends to stay or go. Now, Darleen Tana has been absent from the Parliament for 124 days. She has been sitting on that report for weeks, so it is not a credible excuse for her to say she has not had enough time to consider her future. When MPs return to this House on Tuesday, the expectation is either Darleen Tana shows up or at least communicates to the party, the public, what her intentions are. Now, if she decides to stay and fight, the Green Party has some major soul searching to do as to whether it will invoke that waka jumping legislation to get her out of here. That legislation it called an anti-democratic dead rat.
Jenna Lynch there live from Parliament. Tēnā koe, Jenna.